And we're up. Okay, so I got the walk cycle in. Seen that on the stream, like a tutorial sort of thing going on. Since doing the walk cycle, I added a side step and a turn, which is all programmed in. So, and I added a bit more armor. So if I get in, right, so just stop this. Stand. Get some viewage outside. Right. So we've got our armor on. Oh, bollocks. Right. That comes down. Gives the cockpit a little bit more protection. Got loads of lighting kicking about. Little details I've added. Just so it's not flat. I need a name for it as well. You know, just a few screws in there. Give it a paintwork so it looks battered and used. Got the bit more detail using the wheel suspension, because these blocks here, you can are sort of invisible, not there, so you can transpose them over the top of each other and over the top of blocks. Get a little bit of Z fighting, which is unfortunate, but it's good for detail, like sort of protection down here where there's no protection. See how they merge into these blocks okay? They don't interfere with the joint, anything like that, so adds a nice little bit of detail there. Looks like the joint's all wired up and things. So I've added them. I've widened my toes up a bit, so the foot looks a bit more substantial instead of a little a little chicken foot that it had. Added some anglage on the armour as well, so it's a little bit more protected. A few vents on the back, which should open if things heat up. Be left and right, because I always get confused. I'm an absolute fruitcake. Bit of caging around the works, so and a few effects and that, just to give it, you know, a bit of life. Bit of caging around the smokestacks. Got one of them searchlights on there, so it should do all right in the dark. It's got spotlights all over the place. Just a little bit of detail on there. It just picks it out a bit, you know. So it's all heavy armour as well, so it should take a bit of a drubbing off, like normal fire, you know, like troops on the ground. You could shoot the crap out of it. It should hold up okay. Hopefully kill you before you destroy any of it. I don't think it's very well protected against the big stuff, but nothing this size will be. I don't think anyway. So what I've done is, so I've given it the set. Hold on. Let's show you the functions anyway. what's going on with this bloody stupid X. Right, function. So page 1, when you get into your cockpit, page 1, left is you're walking, starts walking. Up is stop. Then right is stand. Down, put your arms back into position. So if it's firing and the arms are all askew and standing up and stuff like that, if you just press down, it puts them back into position, and you press down again, it switches the auto turret back on. Because I put the arms into position, I've got to turn the auto turret off. So you press that twice to turn your auto turrets back on. So it puts us into position, press it again, turns everything back on, and that's ready to go again. So it's just in case the arms are all askew. Page 2. Actually, let's get that's it. Because this auto thingy, that's better. So page 2, left is strafe left. You would keep pressing that. So 1, 2, 3. Okay. Right is obviously strafe right. Can't remember. Up is your hip spread, so it's standing like that, and then up again, brings it back into position. Next page, this is your left and right turn. Now, because there's no grip, and you just press it to turn the angle you want to go. Because there's no grip, it doesn't turn fully. You can see the feet are sliding, but with a rocking motion it does get it round. So you just keep pressing that until you're the angle you want to be, and then right is turn right. So these are all one button presses. Just press it, let it do its thing. When it's finished, press it again. Right, so that's your functions. And obviously down on there, that's your cage up and down. Now, what I've done, I haven't put it in the cockpit. I've hit the wrong button there, sorry. I've got turning loops. Strafe loop and turning loops. I haven't put them in the cockpit because I'm using these for trying to automate it. I can only do it simply at the minute, and them two have fell over. So there's something going on with the sensors. They're not sensing me barriers I've put up. I'm not sure why. I'm going to have to fiddle about with that. But what happens here is I've got these timers. So that's a strafe loop. I'll show you what I've done. So you've got your command strafe loop. So that kicks off the strafe loop timer and then it kicks itself off. So I've given it a 6-second delay. It takes like 6 seconds for it to do the full strafe, and so that's left. Where's it gone? Where's me loops? That's the left turn, that's 6 seconds as well. So if I kick off a strafe loop, that will just keep strafing until you stop it. So see, you had a target in view, and it's shooting at you. You can hit a strafe loop off, or you can control strafe one by one, but you can hit the loop off, just let it strafe across. I'll just say no grip, so it's not pulling over properly. But it does get there eventually. Then you turn the loop off with a brake. Right turn, strafe. Turn, stop. Stop, strafe. So I just hit that. That'll stop it from strafing. So that's like your loop. So that'll just keep strafing whatever side you the same with turn. It's a left turn. I've got them on both. Left and right's got a thing. So you could use that as a sentry that just keeps turning like that, and then as soon as it targets something, it'll kick off, but it'll still be turning. I haven't figured out how to stop it doing it with commands. So we hit the brake on that. That stops it. Because I found that if you use the control turret, the turret control, the new one, and you put it in, you've got two commands like a sensor, and it's when it gets targeted. So if something targets it, you can activate something, and then you've got if it comes out of target, you can activate something. So if you think about it, it would be easy enough to put, if you are targeted, activate left or right strafe, okay? And then when the target's taken off, you stop left or right strafe. Only problem with that is, if it's targeting and untargeting in like milliseconds, because you know, like something might be looking at you, turns away, look, turn, look. So you're constantly getting targeted and not targeted. You're constantly kicking off the timers, and they're not getting a chance to finish the action before the stop's put on. And they're not getting to finish the stop before the start's put on. So that completely destroys the full sequences, and all your joints get out of whack and things like that. So you can't do it the way things are if it's unscripted. If it was scripted, it'd be great. But because you're using timers, you're at the behest of the timer. You've got to let the sequence flow out, or your joints will be all out of whack. So you can't put it in as a switch command, which is unfortunate, because that would be ideal if one of these mechs got targeted and then just started strafing across the that would be brilliant. But can't do it because targeting and untargeting is such a random and quick thing that happens. So I can't do that. So all I can do is use a sensor. And I'll show you. I've got a sensor at the front, right? Which, if you look at these poor buggers lying on the floor, isn't working. So I've got like this is a powered wall. It's got batteries all the way around, and it's got an antenna. So that is a grid. That whole ring is a grid. So I've got my sensor to sense stations and subgrids. So that should work. But for some reason, it's just not working. So I need to fiddle about with the sensor and see why it's not working. So what I'm going to do is get my sensor stuff up. So get that on HUD so I can see my sensor field. Go to info, show sensor field range. So basically, when that hits a wall, it should stop the mech. It should go into stand position, and it should do a turn loop on the left. That's all that's programmed in, right? Because we haven't got a randomizer button, so all I can do is give it one command. So, and for people who think, well, why don't you put more sensors in? The same thing with the auto turret. If I've got 3 sensors on the front, one for left, one for middle, one for right, right? And that hits that grid, that mech stops and starts to turn. The other sensor hits, stops, starts to turn the other way. Then the other sensor, you start getting that thing where your sensors are overriding each other, and all your movements are getting out of whack, and your joints are getting out of whack because they can't finish what they're doing. So the only way you could do that is have the sensor switching on and off. So if left sensor detects something, it switches everything else off, and then switches it back on when it comes into the thing. But that is timers, lots and lots of timers. It's possible, but when you're using a little mech, as I say, the body's full of timers. I've got loads of spares, but it's a case of I'd rather have armor in than timers, because it's obviously it's weak as hell. As soon as you get through this first plate of armor, you're into the timers, and as soon as you blast a couple of timers, the mech's knackered. So that's the sort of things you're looking at when you're building small like this. In a big mech, that's no problem, because you can have a nice big cavity inside, armoured up to the teeth, put the sensors on a small grid, and then stick a couple of hundred in, and you've got no issues at all about putting different sensor scripts. Like my Jaeger's got hundreds and hundreds of sensors in there. But this, you're limited. So I need to work with what I've got. That sensor doesn't appear to be sensing the wall. It's not kicking things off. So what I'm going to do is have a look at my settings and then kick it off and see if we can get it to work. Because the aim now is to get them patrolling around this ring with block destruction on, all set as enemies. So I'll give each one a different faction and hopefully the factions are enemies anyway. And then when they spot each other and target each other, they'll kick off. That's the aim. And then you have a big mech battle in the middle of the ring, and they're all kicking off. But I need to get this sensor to do what it needs to do. So you can see my sensor field. Doesn't detect players. Will turn floating objects off, so it only detects. Now, would this be classed as a ship or a grid? I'm going to put small ships on, large ships on, stations on, subgrids on. No asteroids. Detect donor on, detect friendly on, detect neutral on, detect enemy on. Right? So that sensor should see everything on there. So that this grid it's in, this ring, should be visible to that sensor now. So when it kicks off, setup actions. So when it kicks off, the sensor timer block starts, and then when it gets out of range, the sensor timer block end starts. So let's see what the sensor timer block is. Stops walk, then it starts stand, which is 6 seconds. Then it starts sensor block 2. Sensor block 2 is on 12 seconds, and that starts left turn loop. So it should stop, stand, and turn left. Then the end, when the sensor gets out of field range, wrong block, absolute dipshit. And I think that's what my problem is, the delay of 3 seconds. I'm going to give that a delay of 12. So if you think of it's turning, I'm only giving it 3 seconds, it's not turning very far, is it? So if I give it 12, it gets a couple of turns in before it activates. So what should happen there, let's see what it's activating. All that's activating is the brake. Stop, and then it starts the walk cycle again. So it stops the turn loop, starts the walk cycle. Right, I've got 12 seconds on there now. I've got a feeling I should give it a little bit more. I'm going to give it 15 seconds. So it gets a good turn. So what should happen is, when that sensor field leaves this and stops sensing it, that should still be turning for 15 seconds before it kicks in the stop and start walking. So I think what was happening was, because it was on 3 seconds, it was coming up like this, it was sensing it, stopping it, it was starting to turn, then as soon as it got out of field range, it was starting to walk forward again. And then obviously it's walking forward, but the sensor isn't catching this because it's a thin field, and it's hitting that and then obviously flipping over. That's what I don't want. And I've got a thin field because it detects friendly subgrids. These bloody arms and these legs will be detected by this sensor if it's any fatter. But I think I can put a little bit of this thing's trying to target something here. So give it a bit more fatness. There's wolves behind. I think I might put a sensor on the back, that if it spots something at the back it starts turning around. So it's got a little bit of fatness. Now what I need to make sure is these bloody arms don't interfere with that sensor field. So let's put my arms back there. That doesn't look like it's catching. So hopefully they'll stay clear and the legs will stay clear. And that'll be a good sensor field. So what I'm going to do is I'll leave the sensor field on. I'm going to blueprint this because I've changed it. And I'm going to set it walking. While it's walking, I'm going to make myself a cup of tea. So you're not going to hear my voice, which is probably thankful. I need a cup of tea. God, I better delete some of these blueprints. Delete. Right. Okie dokie. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to set this thing off walking. I'm going to get myself above so I can see what's going on. And we'll see if that actually works. Now that's going to take a canny while to get to something it's sensing. So what I'll do, I'll end the stream there. I'll make a cup of tea. I'll upload this to YouTube so you can see what I've done. I'll make a cup of tea and then start again. And hopefully by the time I've done that, this mech will have hit one of these side walls. We'll see if the sensor's working. If it does, then we'll start getting some more mechs in and seeing how they react to each other as enemies and things like that. And then we'll turn block destruction on and we'll put, I don't know, 8? About 8? 2 for each faction? I will stick a little load in here. We'll have them all facing the walls so they don't target each other straight away. We'll bring the targeting down a bit because it's set at full at the minute. And I want them to interact with the surroundings before kicking off. I only want them to kick off when they're sort of in the middle of the ring sort of thing, if you know what I mean. So I'll bring the sensor range down on the air auto turret. So we'll leave it at that. 29 minutes.